Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be diving into the mystical world of the Aya,
Okay.
a spiritual organization that's kind of fascinated and perplexed people for over a century.
Yeah, definitely.
And our main source for this deep dive is going to be an issue of Black Pearl,
Oh, cool.
a journal that's dedicated to exploring various mystical and magical systems.
Awesome.
Specifically, we're looking at Volume 1, Number 8, which focuses on the Aya.
It's a really good resource for this, like a peek behind the curtain,
Yeah.
giving us glimpses into their unique approach to spiritual development.
Yeah, so maybe we could start with the basics.
Sure.
What exactly is the AO? What sets it apart from other spiritual organizations?
Well, the A is all about pushing yourself to become the best version of yourself spiritually.
Okay.
It's a system that's designed to guide individuals towards spiritual enlightenment through kind of a blend of mystical and magical practices.
From what I've read, it doesn't sound like it's for the faint of heart.
Right.
There's a definite structure to the system with 3 distinct orders
Yeah.
and a strong emphasis on achieving knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel.
Right.
That sounds pretty intense.
It can be a demanding path,
Yeah.
but the rewards are said to be pretty profound.
Okay.
Think of the 3 orders, like progressive levels of spiritual understanding, each one building on the last one.
Okay.
It's like embarking on a quest to uncover your true potential, with the Holy Guardian Angel acting as like your guide and mentor along the way.
That actually brings up a question I had.
Yeah.
This concept of the holy guardian angel, it's
Right.
central to the Azure system, but what exactly is it? Is it like having your own personal spirit guide, like a divine being that's assigned to you at birth?
It's more nuanced than that, I'd say.
Right.
The Holy Guardian Angel is seen as like a unique expression of your higher self,
Hmm.
a divine aspect that's intimately connected to your soul's purpose.
Yeah.
Communicating with this entity isn't like chatting with a separate being. It's more like merging with a deeper part of yourself, unlocking a level of wisdom and guidance that's always been there, but is often hidden beneath layers of like conditioning and ego.
Wow, that's a fascinating concept.
Yeah,
So it's not about seeking external guidance, but about tapping into a source of wisdom that already exists within you.
exactly. The emphasizes the idea that true spiritual authority comes from within,
Okay.
from connecting with that divine spark that resides at the core of our being.
Now, I know that the Aya has its roots in Salima, spiritual philosophy developed by Aleister Crowley.
Right.
But how does it differ from other thelemic organizations like the OTO, which often gets mentioned in these circles?
That's a key distinction.
Okay.
While both organizations share a foundation in Thelema,
Yeah.
the Aya is primarily focused on internal spiritual work,
Okay.
while the OTO has a more outward focus,
Okay.
dealing with like social and political aspects.
So for someone interested in diving deep into their own spiritual development, the Eye would be the more relevant path.
Exactly. The Aya is designed to guide individuals towards a profound understanding of themselves and the universe, emphasizing the inner transformation that leads to greater awareness and spiritual fulfillment.
The journal also mentions this idea of lineages within the Aya.
Right.
Can you explain what that means? Are there like different factions or schools of thought within the system?
That's a great question. It's important to understand that the Aya, while having a structured system,
Yeah.
recognizes that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to spirituality.
Okay.
The concept of lineages acknowledges that there are multiple authentic paths to spiritual enlightenment.
So it's more like a network of interconnected paths, all leading towards the same ultimate goal, but with different approaches and practices along the way.
Precisely. The Aya embraces diversity in spiritual practice, you see,
Okay.
understanding that each individual has a unique journey and that what works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about providing a framework within which individuals can pursue their own unique spiritual development.
So it's about finding the path that resonates with your soul rather than being forced into a rigid dogma.
Exactly. The NMN encourages individuals to find their own way within the system,
Okay.
to explore different practices and teachings,
Uh-huh.
and to ultimately forge their own path towards spiritual awakening.
Now, for all this talk about inclusivity, there's also an element of elitism that runs through the MF philosophy.
Right.
Can you clarify what that means? Is it like a secret society for spiritual snobs?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's not about social status or exclusivity at all.
Mm,
The Ines concept of elite is based on inner worthiness and spiritual maturity.
okay.
It's about recognizing that true spiritual advancement requires a certain level of dedication, discipline, and self-awareness.
So it's not about being part of a chosen few, but rather about choosing to elevate oneself spiritually.
Exactly. The ADA encourages individuals to strive for excellence in their spiritual practice, to cultivate the highest aspects of themselves, and to reach a level of spiritual maturity that transcends the ordinary.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
It's about pushing yourself to become the best version of yourself spiritually,
right.
not about looking down on others.
Exactly.
But how exactly does one go about this self-elevation? What are some of the practices involved?
Well, Black Pearl outlined some specific magical practices that Crowley recommended for those starting on the A path.
Okay.
He particularly stressed the importance of understanding nature and its laws as a foundation for magical work.
Interesting. So it's not about like conjuring up spells or summoning demons,
Yeah.
but about developing a deep understanding of the natural world and how it operates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crowley saw magic not as a supernatural force, but as a skill,
Okay.
a way to work in harmony with the natural order to bring about desired results.
So it's more about aligning yourself with the flow of the universe rather than trying to force things to happen.
Precisely. It's about understanding the principles that govern reality
Okay.
and using that knowledge to create positive change in your life and in the world around you.
That makes sense. But Black Pearl also mentions a practice called evocation.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that? What exactly does it involve, and how does it fit into the Aegea system?
Evocation is a complex practice that involves calling forth elemental spirits or forces to gain knowledge and insight.
Okay.
It's not for beginners,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a powerful tool for those who have mastered the basics of magical practice.
Okay, now we're getting into some intriguing territory.
Yeah.
What kind of knowledge or insights can one gain through evocation?
Right.
What are some of the risks involved?
Evocation can be used to gain a deeper understanding of nature,
Okay.
to access hidden knowledge,
Uh-huh.
or even to influence events in the material world.
Okay.
However, it's a practice that demands careful preparation, a strong will, and a deep respect for the forces you're working with.
That makes sense. It sounds like a powerful tool, but one that shouldn't be taken lightly.
Definitely.
The journal gives an example of evoking Tyrael,
Yeah.
the intelligence of Mercury, to gain knowledge about nature.
Yes.
Why choose that particular spirit for this purpose?
Well, Tyrael is associated with knowledge communication and the power of the mind.
Okay.
So it's a natural choice for those seeking to understand the secrets of the natural world.
Uh-huh.
But as with any spirit, it's crucial to approach Tyrael with respect, clarity of purpose,
Right.
and a strong understanding of the ritualistic protocols involved.
I can see why this practice would require a lot of preparation and discipline.
Definitely.
Are there like specific tools or rituals involved in evocation?
Absolutely. The journal emphasizes the importance of using specific tools like a wand, a sword, and a pentacle, each with its own symbolic significance.
Right.
And of course, there are the protective measures like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and hexagram, which are essential for creating a safe and controlled environment for the operation.
So it's not just about summoning spirits willy-nilly,
Right.
but about creating a sacred space and taking the necessary precautions to ensure both your safety and the integrity of the ritual.
Precisely. Evocation is a powerful practice, but it's not something to be undertaken lightly.
Right.
It requires a deep understanding of the principles involved
Yeah.
and a commitment to ethical conduct.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about understanding nature, working with spirits, or pursuing spiritual enlightenment, it all comes back to knowledge, discipline, and a deep respect for the forces at play.
You're absolutely right. The OEA is not a path for those seeking quick fixes or superficial thrills.
Right.
It's a system designed for those who are serious about their spiritual development and willing to put in the work to achieve true transformation.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already, but we've only just begun to scratch the surface of the OEA and its mysteries. We still need to explore the mystical side of the system,
Definitely.
including Crowley's experiences with the 30 Aethers, described in The Vision and the Voice.
Ah, yes. The Vision and the Voice offers some fascinating insights into the nature of consciousness and the possibilities for spiritual exploration.
Yeah.
It's a key text for understanding the Aegea's mystical underpinnings.
Before we dive into that, though, can you explain what the Aethers are? They sound like something straight out of a science fiction novel.
They're not physical realms,
Okay.
but think of them as like planes or realms of consciousness.
Okay.
Each ether offers unique experiences and insights,
Okay.
and navigating through them is a significant part of the RA system.
So it's like an interdimensional travelogue for the soul.
You could say that. Crowley documented his journeys through these ethers, providing valuable glimpses into the different states of consciousness that are possible. His writings offer a roadmap for those who seek to explore these inner realms and unlock their hidden potential.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Which ethers are we going to explore today?
Black Pearl specifically highlights three: the ninth, the eighth, and the seventh ethers.
Okay.
Each offers a unique set of challenges and insights.
Okay.
And together they paint a fascinating picture of the Aya's approach to spiritual development.
All right, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. Let's start with the ninth ether, ZIP.
Okay.
What makes this one so significant?
Well, ZIP is the realm of pure wonder and the dissolution of the ego. It's associated with the daughter of Babylon,
Okay.
a symbolic figure representing the feminine principle, creativity, and the liberated self.
Okay.
Crowley describes experiencing the vision of wonder in this ether, a state of pure awe and unity where the limitations of the personality dissolve.
That sounds incredibly profound. Can you tell us more about this vision of wonder and what it represents?
Sure.
And what's the connection to the daughter of Babylon?
Crowley described the vision of wonder as seeing the world as it truly is,
Okay.
without the filters of our normal perception. It's a state of pure awareness, where the boundaries between self and other dissolve,
Okay.
and you experience a profound sense of interconnectedness with all things.
Wow, that sounds truly transformative. But how does one even begin to cultivate such a state of awareness?
That's a question we'll delve into as we explore Crowley's experiences in this ether.
Okay.
The key, it seems, lies in transcending the limitations of our ego,
Right.
those conditioned patterns of thinking and perceiving that keep us trapped in a limited view of reality.
I'm eager to hear more about Crowley's insights on this.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the ninth ether, can you tell us about the daughter of Babylon and her significance in this realm?
Babylon is a complex figure in Thelema, representing many things.
Right.
But essentially, she embodies the feminine principle of creation, the source of all life and energy.
Okay.
Her daughter, in this context, represents the liberated self, the individual who has broken free from the constraints of the ego and embraced their true nature.
So encountering the daughter of Babylon in ZIP is like meeting the embodiment of your own liberated potential.
That's one way to interpret it. It's a powerful symbol of the transformative possibilities available through spiritual practice, a reminder that we're capable of transcending our limitations and experiencing a profound sense of unity and wholeness.
This is all incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Sure.
We've covered a lot of ground already, and we're just getting started.
I understand. These are deep waters we're diving into.
Yeah.
And it's important to take our time and let the information sink in.
Okay.
Remember, the A is about gradual progress, not instant enlightenment.
Right.
It's about taking one step at a time, exploring the teachings, and allowing your understanding to unfold organically.
That's reassuring to hear. I'm ready to continue our exploration.
Great.
But perhaps we should take a moment to pause and let our listeners absorb what we've discussed so far.
Sure.
There's a lot to unpack here,
Definitely.
and I'm sure they'll have some questions of their own.
That's a great idea. Take your time, dear listeners, and let these ideas settle in. We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into the Yaya, exploring Crowley's experiences in the 8th and 7th ethers, and uncovering more of the system's fascinating practices and insights.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into the A.
Yeah.
I'm still reeling from our exploration of the ninth ether.
Yeah,
The vision of wonder sounds absolutely incredible,
it is.
but also a bit daunting.
Yeah, it's certainly a lofty goal.
Right,
But remember, the AA emphasizes gradual progress.
right.
You don't need to achieve a state of perfect unity overnight.
That's good to hear. So where do we go from here? Which aether is next on our journey?
Well, let's move on to the 8th Aether Z-Day.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Especially if you're fascinated by the idea of connecting with your holy guardian angel.
Okay, I'm all ears. You mentioned earlier that achieving knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel is a central goal in the Fae. Does the 8th aether offer any insights into how to achieve this?
It does indeed. This is the realm where Crowley himself describes receiving instructions from his holy guardian angel Aiwass. It's a pivotal moment in his journey and a powerful testament to the transformative potential of connecting with your higher self.
Wow, that's incredible. So what kind of instructions did Crowley receive? Was it like a divine to-do list for spiritual enlightenment?
Not exactly a to-do list, but AWS did provide Crowley with a specific set of practices and principles to follow,
Okay.
guiding him towards the knowledge and conversation of his holy guardian angel.
Okay.
These instructions are rooted in an ancient magical system outlined in a grimoire called The Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage.
The Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. That sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel. What's the connection here?
It's a fascinating connection. The Abramelin system is a complex and demanding path,
Okay.
requiring a period of isolation and intense ritual work.
Okay.
It's designed to purify the soul and ultimately lead to a direct encounter with one's holy guardian angel.
Okay.
Crowley's experience in the Eighth Aether suggests that the AA draws upon these ancient teachings, adapting them for the modern seeker.
So it's like the AA is offering a more accessible path to achieving the same goal. A way for individuals to connect with their holy guardian angel without having to become a hermit for 6 months.
Exactly. The AA recognizes that the traditional Abramelin system is incredibly demanding and not suitable for everyone.
Right.
Crowley's instructions from AWAS seem to offer a more streamlined approach, but one that still requires dedication, discipline, and a sincere desire for spiritual growth.
I'm curious about the specifics of these instructions.
Right.
What did AWAS actually tell Crowley to do?
Well, the details are veiled in Kabbalistic symbolism,
Okay.
but essentially AWAS outlined a path of self-purification,
Okay.
a process of stripping away the layers of ego and conditioning that obscure our true nature.
Okay.
It involves specific practices designed to refine the mind, cultivate a higher state of awareness, and ultimately open ourselves to the guidance of our holy guardian angel.
That makes sense. It's about creating the right internal conditions for that connection to emerge.
Right.
About purifying yourself on all levels, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Precisely. It's about becoming a clear and resonant vessel for that divine energy to flow through.
Now, Crowley was known for his complex and often elaborate rituals, but I recall reading something in Black Pearl about a surprisingly simple practice he recommended for working towards the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel.
Oh, yeah. You're referring to the practice of affirming unity or oneness.
Right.
Crowley recommended repeating the phrase, I am one, a staggering 1,001 times per day.
Wow.
It might sound tedious, but the idea is to saturate your consciousness with the concept of unity.
1,001 times a day. That's a lot of affirmations. But I guess that's the point, right? To really drive that idea deep into your subconscious.
Exactly. By repeatedly affirming unity, you begin to shift your perception away from the illusion of separateness that dominates our ordinary thinking.
Right.
You start to experience yourself as part of a greater whole, interconnected with all things.
And presumably this shift in perception helps to open you up to that connection with your holy guardian angel.
Precisely. By dissolving the sense of separation between yourself and the divine, you create a space for that higher connection to emerge.
It's like tuning your radio to the right frequency to receive the signal. But speaking of signals,
Yeah.
I'm curious about how Crowley accessed these ethers in the first place.
Yeah.
Were they something he discovered through meditation, or was there a specific method he used?
Well, Crowley employed a specific invocation, a ritual call, to open the gateways to these realms.
Okay.
He called it the Call of the 30 Ethers.
Mm.
It's a fascinating piece of magical technology, utilizing the Enochian language revealed to John Dee and Edward Kelly in their angelic communications.
Ah, yes. Enochian magic, always shrouded in mystery and intrigue. So Crowley essentially used this call as a key to unlock the doors to these ethers.
That's a great way to put it. The call acts as a vibrational tool, a way to attune your consciousness to the specific frequencies of these realms.
Okay.
It's like dialing a specific phone number to connect with a particular person.
That makes sense. But I remember reading something about Crowley's interpretation of the call evolving over time. Earlier in his journey, he perceived certain passages as almost apocalyptic curses.
Oh, yeah.
But later, his understanding shifted dramatically. What changed?
That's a really insightful observation. It highlights the transformative nature of spiritual progression and the importance of context.
Right.
What once appeared threatening or negative to Crowley, he later understood in a completely different light,
Okay.
revealing the evolving nature of perception and understanding.
So it's not that the call itself changed, but rather Crowley's own level of understanding deepened, allowing him to perceive the deeper meaning behind the words.
Precisely. It's a reminder that our interpretations of spiritual experiences are often colored by our current level of understanding.
Right.
As we grow and evolve, so too do our interpretations.
It's like rereading a favorite book years later and discovering new layers of meaning that you simply couldn't appreciate before.
Exactly. What might seem frightening or confusing at one stage of our journey can later be revealed as a profound teaching or insight simply because we are now better equipped to grasp its deeper meaning.
Speaking of deeper meaning, I'd love to explore another intriguing article I found in Black Pearl.
Okay.
It delves into the evolution of esoteric traditions,
Oh.
tracing the roots of Western esotericism back to ancient times.
Ah, yes. That article offers a fascinating perspective on the interconnectedness of various spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
It challenges the notion that Eastern and Western esoteric teachings are separate and distinct,
Okay.
proposing that they share a common source of wisdom.
So it's like a global family tree of spiritual knowledge with branches reaching across cultures and continents.
It's a beautiful way to visualize it. The article emphasizes the idea that whether we call it Yoga Kabbalah or any other system,
Right.
we're ultimately talking about the same fundamental truths about the nature of reality and the human spirit.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
After all, we humans have always sought to understand the mysteries of existence, regardless of where we are in the world. What are some of the specific groups or movements that the article highlights?
Well, it starts with the Knights Templar, a medieval order that's often shrouded in mystery and intrigue.
Okay.
They're believed to have had access to esoteric teachings from the Middle East,
Okay.
which they brought back to Europe.
The Knights Templar. Always a fascinating subject. What kind of knowledge did they possess?
Well, while the specifics are still debated, it's thought they were privy to a profound spiritual tradition that blended elements of Middle Eastern teachings with their Christian beliefs.
Okay.
Their esoteric knowledge is said to have influenced the development of later Hermetic and mystical movements in Europe.
So the Templars were like the secret keepers passing on this hidden wisdom to future generations.
You could say that. The article suggests that their suppression and the subsequent dissemination of their knowledge played a significant role in shaping the evolution of Western esotericism.
It's like a spiritual game of telephone with whispers of ancient wisdom passed down through the ages. But the Templars weren't the only ones in the esoteric game, were they? Who else is mentioned?
The article goes on to highlight a number of other influential figures and movements that emerged after the Templar era.
Okay.
There's the Fedeli d'Amore, an Italian occult school whose members included the poet Dante and the Renaissance philosopher Marsilio Ficino.
Dante, the guy who wrote about heaven and hell. That's pretty wild. What was he doing mixed up with an occult school?
It's a great reminder that the pursuit of spiritual knowledge has always attracted individuals from all walks of life,
Right.
including artists and poets. The Fedeli d'Amore explored a variety of esoteric teachings and aimed to cultivate spiritual enlightenment through mystical practices.
So they were like a Renaissance-era think tank for spiritual seekers exploring the mysteries of the universe.
Exactly. They were part of a broader current of esoteric exploration that was gaining momentum during that time period.
And I can't forget about alchemy. I've always been fascinated by it.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, my understanding of it is pretty basic. Weren't alchemists just obsessed with turning lead into gold?
That's the popular image. But alchemy was far more than just a material pursuit.
Okay.
It was a spiritual and philosophical system that used the transformation of metals as a metaphor for the process of inner transformation.
So it wasn't really about creating physical gold, but about transmuting your base desires into something more refined.
Exactly. Alchemists sought to purify their souls and achieve spiritual enlightenment through a process of symbolic transformation,
Okay.
using the language of chemistry and metallurgy to describe the subtle workings of the human psyche.
That's incredibly insightful. It's like a spiritual chemistry set, where the goal is to transform your inner lead into spiritual gold.
A wonderful analogy.
Okay.
The article mentions some of the most renowned alchemists in history, including figures like Raymond Lully, Arnold de Villanova, and Nicholas Flamel.
Okay.
These individuals were not only skilled in the practical aspects of alchemy,
Mm-hmm.
but also deeply knowledgeable in the philosophical and spiritual dimensions of the art.
It's fascinating to see how all these figures and movements are intertwined, weaving a complex tapestry of esoteric history.
Yeah.
But what about the Rosicrucians?
Oh,
They always seem to pop up whenever we talk about secret societies and esoteric knowledge.
Right.
Are they mentioned in the article?
they are indeed. The Rosicrucian movement emerged in the 17th century,
Okay.
presenting themselves as a hidden order dedicated to spiritual enlightenment and the advancement of knowledge.
So they were like the intellectual elite of the esoteric world operating in the shadows?
Their influence, though, often veiled, was quite significant.
Okay.
They advocated for a synthesis of science, religion, and spirituality,
Okay.
paving the way for a more holistic and enlightened understanding of the world.
It's like they were planting the seeds for a new way of thinking, one that embraced both the rational and the mystical, but their legacy is still shrouded in mystery, isn't it?
Absolutely. The true nature of the Rosicrucian order remains a subject of debate, but their impact on the development of Western esotericism is undeniable.
Right.
They helped to spark a renewed interest in ancient wisdom and pave the way for a more open exploration of spiritual and occult teachings.
It's amazing to see how all these threads come together, showing how the idea is part of a much larger and more ancient tradition of spiritual seeking.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to Crowley's experiences in the Aethers. We started discussing the ninth Aether ZIP,
Right.
but didn't get to explore it fully. There's a particularly intriguing passage about the seer being lost in wonder, which is peace. What's the significance of this statement?
That passage beautifully captures the essence of the ninth ether. It's about transcending the limitations of our normal perception and experiencing a state of pure wonder,
Okay.
which leads to a profound sense of peace. It's about letting go of our need to analyze and categorize everything and simply allowing ourselves to be present in the moment,
Yeah.
filled with awe and appreciation for the miracle of existence.
So it's about cultivating a childlike sense of wonder, a state of pure presence where we're not trying to figure everything out or control the experience.
Exactly. The vision of wonder isn't about intellectual understanding, but about direct experience,
Right.
about feeling the interconnectedness of all things and experiencing a deep sense of belonging within the vastness of the cosmos.
That sounds incredibly liberating. But the ninth Aether also describes the daughter of Babylon as being immaculate,
Uh-huh.
with a name not to be spoken among men. What's the meaning behind this veiled language?
It points to the sacredness of this experience,
Okay.
the ineffable nature of encountering the divine feminine principle in its purest form. The daughter of Babylon represents a level of spiritual awareness and power that transcends ordinary language and understanding.
Okay.
It's something that can only be truly grasped through direct experience.
So it's about acknowledging the limits of our human comprehension when it comes to the divine. There are certain things that can only be known through direct experience, not through words or concepts.
Exactly. Some experiences are so profound, so transformative, that they defy description and can only be truly understood through direct encounter.
It's like trying to explain the taste of chocolate to someone who's never had it before.
Right.
Words simply can't capture the full experience.
A perfect analogy. Certain realms of spiritual understanding require us to go beyond the limitations of language and embrace the mystery,
Okay.
allowing the experience to unfold within us without trying to grasp it with our minds.
I'm noticing that the description of the daughter of Babylon is filled with symbolism. She's
Okay.
adorned with 7 stars and 7 combs representing the 7 breaths of God. What's the significance of this imagery?
Well, the number 7 holds a powerful significance in many esoteric traditions,
Okay.
often representing completeness or perfection. In this context, the 7 stars and combs symbolize the divine attributes and powers associated with the daughter of Babylon.
Okay.
She embodies the fullness of divine energy and wisdom.
So it's like she's a walking embodiment of the divine feminine, a powerful archetype of creation and spiritual liberation.
Precisely. The imagery evokes a sense of awe and reverence, highlighting her elevated status as a divine being and the transformative potential of embracing the feminine principle within ourselves.
But even in this exalted realm, Crowley describes a sense of vulnerability. He says, "I am blind and deaf. My sight and hearing are exhausted." What's the meaning behind this statement?
It speaks to the overwhelming nature of the experience, the sheer intensity of encountering a realm of such profound power and beauty.
Right.
Crowley's senses are overloaded, unable to fully comprehend the magnitude of what he's witnessing.
So it's like staring directly into the sun. It's too bright, too powerful to grasp fully with our limited human perception.
Exactly. The experience pushes Crowley to the edge of his capacity, forcing him to confront the limitations of his human senses and understanding.
Right.
It's a reminder that even for seasoned mystics, the path of spiritual exploration can be humbling, challenging our preconceived notions and pushing us beyond our comfort zones.
It's a reminder that there are realms of experience that lie beyond our current understanding,
Yeah,
and that the journey of spiritual exploration is about continuously expanding our capacity for awareness and embracing the unknown.
exactly.
But the vision in the voice doesn't just describe these mystical experiences. It also offers guidance on how to navigate these realms,
Right.
a method that goes beyond traditional rituals and practices.
Right.
What's the essence of this approach?
Crowley emphasizes the importance of internal preparation.
Okay.
It's not enough to simply perform rituals or recite invocations.
Right.
You need to cultivate a state of inner stillness and receptivity before venturing into the aethers.
So it's about creating the right internal environment, a clear and focused mind, before embarking on these spiritual explorations.
Precisely. The emphasis shifts from external rituals to the cultivation of an inner temple, a space of quiet contemplation and spiritual awareness.
Okay.
It's like preparing the soil before planting a seed.
Right.
You need to create the right conditions for growth and nourishment.
That makes a lot of sense. But Crowley goes further than that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He suggests a specific practice for aligning yourself with a higher power before entering these realms.
You're right. Crowley suggests the practice of invoking the highest, presumably the divine,
Okay.
before attempting to unveil the mysteries of the ethers.
Okay.
It's about aligning yourself with a higher power, seeking guidance and protection before venturing into these potent realms.
It's like asking for a spiritual GPS system before embarking on an interdimensional road trip.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing the potential dangers of these journeys and seeking the support of a higher force to ensure your safe passage.
Now, the ninth Aether also describes individuals who have set their affections upon the earth, resisting the call to spiritual growth.
Right.
They are depicted as being swallowed by the earth, experiencing a kind of spiritual stagnation. What's the message behind this imagery?
It's a cautionary tale, highlighting the consequences of clinging to material pursuits and ignoring the call to spiritual development.
Okay.
Those who refuse to evolve, who remain fixated on the earthly realm,
Yeah.
ultimately become trapped in a cycle of limitation and suffering.
So it's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from aligning ourselves with our higher purpose, not from chasing after fleeting pleasures or material possessions.
Exactly. The ninth Aether reminds us that spiritual growth is essential for true happiness,
Okay.
and that resisting this call can lead to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. It's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. It might look stable for a while,
Right.
but eventually it will crumble.
That's a powerful reminder to prioritize our inner growth and to seek a deeper understanding of our place in the cosmos.
Yeah. But the vision in the voice doesn't shy away from the challenges of the spiritual path.
Right.
Crowley describes being shaken from within, experiencing a kind of inner earthquake as a result of the spiritual forces at work.
Uh-huh.
What's the significance of this imagery?
It highlights the transformative nature of spiritual growth.
Okay.
It's not always a comfortable or easy process. It can involve facing our shadows, challenging our beliefs, and undergoing profound shifts in our identity.
So it's about recognizing that growth often involves discomfort, a kind of breaking down of old patterns and structures to make way for something new to emerge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crowley's experience in the ninth Aether reflects the often tumultuous nature of spiritual awakening.
Right.
It's a process of purification, a shedding of old limitations to make way for a more expansive and enlightened state of being.
It's like a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. It's a messy, chaotic process, but it ultimately leads to something beautiful and transformative. A perfect analogy. Transformation often involves a period of disintegration before we can reassemble ourselves into a new and more evolved form.
But even amidst the challenges, Crowley receives guidance. He's told to be eager and vigilant, adhering to the principles of spiritual practice. What's the importance of this message?
It underscores the need for discipline and dedication on the spiritual path.
Okay.
Growth doesn't happen by accident. It requires consistent effort, a commitment to the practices and principles that support our evolution.
So it's not enough to have a few mystical experiences or intellectual insights. You have to put in the work, the daily practice to cultivate lasting transformation.
Precisely. Crowley's instruction to be eager and vigilant highlights the active role we must take in our own spiritual development. It's not a passive process. It requires conscious effort and a willingness to embrace the challenges that arise along the way.
It's a reminder that spiritual growth is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It's about consistently showing up, doing the work, and staying open to the transformative power of the path.
Well said. And that brings us to a good point to pause and reflect on all we've discussed so far.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, exploring the ninth ether, the concept of the holy guardian angel, and even dipping into the history of Western esotericism.
It's been an incredible journey so far, but I know there's still much more to explore. We have one more ether to discuss,
Yes.
and I'm eager to hear about the unique challenges and insights it offers.
Yes. The seventh ether DEO is particularly intriguing.
Okay.
It's associated with Venus and the concept of restricted love,
Okay.
offering a unique perspective on the transformative power of love and the challenges we faced in fully embracing it.
Okay. I'm definitely intrigued. But perhaps we should save that exploration for our next segment, giving our listeners a chance to absorb all we've discussed so far.
That's a great idea. Take your time, dear listeners, and let these concepts settle in. We'll be back soon to continue our journey through the mystical realms of the ether, exploring the seventh ether and uncovering more of the system's profound wisdom.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Nade Shale. We've journeyed through the realms of wonder, connected with the concept of the holy guardian angel, and even traced the lineage of Western esotericism.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
It really has. And we still have one more fascinating realm to explore,
We do.
the seventh ether DEO.
Right.
You mentioned that DEO is associated with Venus and the concept of restricted love.
Yes.
That sounds intriguing and maybe a little paradoxical.
It is.
Venus, the planet of love and beauty, linked to restriction. How does that work?
It's a profound paradox,
Huh.
and that's precisely what DEO explores.
Okay.
It delves into the ways in which our attempts to control or restrict love can actually lead to suffering.
Hmm.
It challenges us to reevaluate our conceptions of love,
Okay.
moving beyond the limitations of like romantic or conditional love,
Right.
and embracing a more expansive, all-encompassing form that fuels our spiritual growth.
So you're saying that DEO is prompting us to think about love in a much broader sense,
Mhm.
a love that transcends the typical boundaries we often place on it.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true love requires freedom and expansiveness, not constraints.
Okay.
It's about allowing ourselves and others to be fully expressed and authentic
Okay.
without trying to fit them into our preconceived notions of what love should be.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like we're being asked to release our grip on those limiting beliefs about love, those ideas about possession or control, and instead allow love to flow freely both within ourselves and in our relationships with others.
Precisely. It's about shifting our focus from trying to capture love to cultivating an inner state of love and acceptance that radiates outward, enriching all aspects of our lives.
This brings up a question I had about Crowley's experience in DEO.
Okay.
The journal mentions that he encountered like a flurry of Kabbalistic puzzles and numerological analysis in this ether.
Right.
What was he trying to decipher? Was there a specific message or insight he was seeking?
It seems that DEO triggered a wave of intellectual activity in Crowley's mind,
Mm-hmm.
almost as if he were presented with a cosmic crossword puzzle. He was grappling with the experience, attempting to make sense of the symbolism and decode the hidden messages he was encountering.
So even in the midst of a mystical experience, his mind was actively trying to categorize and analyze what he was experiencing.
Exactly. It's a reminder that the spiritual path isn't just about feeling or intuition.
Mm-hmm.
It also involves our intellect,
Right.
our capacity to reason and analyze, to integrate our experiences into a coherent understanding.
Right.
Crowley's approach highlights this integration of the mystical and the intellectual.
But even with all his intellectual prowess, Crowley acknowledges in The Vision and the Voice that he didn't possess the key to the gate of the evening star.
Right.
What's the significance of this admission?
It's a powerful statement about the limitations of human understanding.
Okay.
Even Crowley, with all his knowledge and experience,
Yeah.
recognized that there are certain mysteries, certain realms of spiritual experience
Right.
that remain beyond our full comprehension.
So it's about acknowledging that there are limits to what we can know, that the spiritual path is a journey of ongoing discovery and revelation.
Exactly. Crowley's admission underscores the importance of humility and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we don't have all the answers,
Right.
and that the spiritual journey is about continuously expanding our awareness, not clinging to fixed beliefs or interpretations.
It's a reminder that the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But even without possessing the key, Crowley was still granted glimpses into the mysteries of DEO.
Uh-huh.
He describes seeing bowers of azure flame symbolizing the great love stories of the world. What's the message behind this imagery?
The imagery is quite beautiful and evocative.
Yeah.
The eagle, often associated with spiritual ascension and divine inspiration,
Okay.
symbolizes the potential for transcendence and liberation that's available through the path of love.
Right.
The ruddy brass with its fiery hues represents the transformative power of love. Its capacity to burn away limitations and illuminate our path towards enlightenment.
So it's like a symbol of hope amidst the challenges, a reminder that love can ultimately lead us to a state of liberation and spiritual awakening.
Precisely. DEO, for all its paradoxes and challenges, ultimately points us toward the liberating and transformative power of love.
Right.
It encourages us to embrace love as a guiding force,
Okay.
to trust its power to transform us and lead us towards a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
DEO also presents a warning, though, doesn't it?
It does.
The vision in the voice describes little lonely souls running helplessly about,
Right.
seeking restricted love and failing to understand that the word of sin is restriction. What's the message behind this cautionary tale?
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
It is.
It highlights the dangers of clinging to limited and conditional forms of love.
Okay.
Those who seek love based on control possession or specific outcomes
Right.
ultimately create their own suffering. They become trapped in a cycle of seeking and yearning, never finding true fulfillment because they've placed limitations on what love can be.
So it's about recognizing that true love requires freedom and expansiveness, not constraints. It's about letting go of our need to control or possess the object of our love and allowing it to flow freely without attachment to specific outcomes.
Exactly. The seventh Aether challenges the often possessive and limiting nature of romantic love, encouraging us to cultivate a more compassionate, unconditional, and liberating form of love that embraces both ourselves and others fully.
It's a profound message and one that resonates deeply with me. It's about recognizing that love isn't about ownership or control,
Right.
but about allowing ourselves and others to be fully expressed and authentic.
Beautifully put. It's about shifting our focus from trying to capture love to cultivating an inner state of love and acceptance that radiates outwards, enriching our relationships and our lives.
It's a reminder that the most fulfilling love comes from a place of inner abundance, not from a place of lack or need. But Crowley's journey through DEO doesn't end on a triumphant note, does it?
It doesn't.
He's told that he must depart, that the true voice of the ether remains hidden from him.
Right.
What's the meaning behind this seemingly abrupt departure?
It highlights the importance of recognizing the stages of spiritual development.
Okay.
Crowley, at that point in his journey, hadn't fully integrated the lessons of the seventh Ether.
Okay.
He hadn't fully grasped the concept of unrestricted love,
Right.
so he wasn't yet ready to receive the full revelation of this realm.
So it's like he was being sent back to do his homework, to continue his exploration and deepen his understanding before returning to DEO at a later stage.
Precisely. The seventh Ether challenges Crowley to continue his work,
Okay.
to refine his understanding of love and to cultivate a more expansive and compassionate way of being.
It's a reminder that spiritual growth is an ongoing process, a spiral of learning and integration. We might revisit certain themes or lessons multiple times throughout our journey, each time gaining a deeper understanding and a more nuanced perspective. But DEO also offers a glimmer of hope, doesn't it?
It does.
Crowley is encouraged to meditate upon the mysteries of the ether, suggesting that further exploration and contemplation can lead to greater understanding.
Yes. The journey through the ethers isn't a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing process of discovery, a continual unfolding of understanding that requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
It's like being given a treasure map, but instead of leading to a specific destination, it guides us towards an ongoing adventure, a lifelong exploration of the mysteries of existence.
Beautifully put. And that's the beauty of the spiritual path, isn't it? It's not about arriving at a fixed destination,
Right.
but about embracing the journey itself, the continual process of growth, transformation, and discovery.
Well, I feel like our journey through the seventh Aether has certainly opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me.
Yeah.
It's challenged my preconceived notions about love and inspired me to cultivate a more expansive and compassionate way of being.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the power of the Ozeo system.
Yeah.
It's designed to challenge us, to push us beyond our comfort zones, and to ultimately lead us towards a more awakened and fulfilling existence.
While exploring Black Pearl, I noticed an interesting section called Kabbalah's Corner
Oh, yeah.
that delves into the world of Kabbalah.
Yeah, it does.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, it focuses on Latin Kabbalah simplex,
Okay.
a system that applies Kabbalistic principles to the Latin language.
Okay.
It explores the numerical values and symbolic correspondences of Latin words,
Okay.
uncovering hidden layers of meaning and connection.
Wait, so you're saying there's a hidden code in the language of ancient Rome? Like a spiritual Rosetta Stone?
In a way, yes. Black Pearl provides a glossary of Latin words and their corresponding numerical values,
Okay.
allowing you to explore the Kabbalistic significance of various terms and concepts.
I bet that unlocks a whole new level of understanding when it comes to interpreting ancient texts and rituals.
It really does.
Yeah.
It also seems to tie back to what we were discussing earlier
Yeah.
about the system being designed to prevent ego inflation, that tendency to think you have all the answers once you've had a taste of spiritual knowledge.
Right. That's a crucial element of their approach.
It is.
The Assis system is structured to cultivate humility and encourage a balanced perspective. It emphasizes the importance of both knowledge and experience, understanding that true wisdom arises from the integration of both. It's about recognizing that the pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing journey, one that requires a healthy dose of self-awareness and a willingness to question your own assumptions.
Exactly. It's not just about filling your head with facts and figures,
Right.
but about putting that knowledge into practice and allowing it to transform you from the inside out. The A system encourages a holistic approach to spiritual development, recognizing that true growth involves the cultivation of the intellect, the emotions, and the will.
Black Pearl also features an article called Ceremonial Magic Part 8, Insight into Nature, the Art of Evocation.
Right.
Can you tell us about this piece and how it fits into our understanding of the A?
The article serves as a practical guide to the art of evocation,
Right.
a magical practice we touched upon earlier.
Right.
It outlines the steps involved in summoning elemental spirits and interacting with forces that exist beyond our normal perception.
Okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
What are the essential elements of a successful evocation?
Well, first of all, it's not about chanting spells under a full moon.
Okay.
While timing can be important, it's more about careful preparation and meticulous execution.
Okay.
The article stresses the importance of creating a sacred space,
Okay.
a circle of protection,
Uh-huh.
using specific tools and symbols to establish a controlled environment for the operation. It outlines the use of tools like a wand, a sword, and a pentacle,
Okay.
each with its own symbolic significance and purpose within the ritual.
Right. And of course, we can't forget about the banishings,
Right.
those spiritual safeguards we mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
These are essential for cleansing the space, establishing protection, and ensuring the safe departure of the evoked spirit.
Yeah, it's like creating a spiritual laboratory, a space where you can safely experiment with these potent forces.
But what about the spirit itself?
Right.
How do you choose which one to evoke?
Right.
And what's the etiquette for interacting with these beings?
That's a crucial aspect of the practice. The article recommends careful consideration of the spirit's nature and its alignment with your goals for the operation.
Okay.
It's not about randomly summoning any spirit that catches your fancy,
Right.
but about choosing one whose energies and powers are conducive to your intentions.
So it's not about manipulating others or seeking personal gain, but about using magic as a tool for self-development and for contributing to the greater good.
Precisely, the Amera system sees magic as a path of service, a way to align oneself with higher principles, and to use one's abilities to create a more harmonious and enlightened world.
It reminds us that magic, like any form of power, can be used for both good and ill.
Right.
It's up to us to cultivate the wisdom and discernment to choose the path that leads to greater harmony and well-being for ourselves and for all beings.
And on that note of responsible action and self-development, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the Amer.
We have. We've explored its mystical teachings, delved into its magical practices,
We have?
and even cracked the code of Latin Kabbalah simplex
Oh, yeah.
in an enlightening journey.
It certainly has. I hope our listeners feel inspired to embark on their own area adventure.
Yeah.
Remember, the path of spiritual development is a deeply personal one.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your intuition, follow your curiosity,
Uh-huh.
and allow the journey to unfold in its own unique way.
Beautifully said. And to our listeners, if you're feeling inspired to continue your Ajuri exploration, I highly recommend checking out Volume 1, Number 8 of Black Pearl.
Oh yeah, a great resource.
It's a treasure trove of knowledge and a wonderful starting point for your journey.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of existence.
And remember, the journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth is an ongoing process. What resonates with you today might evolve and deepen as you continue to learn and explore. Trust your intuition, follow your curiosity, and allow the path to unfold in its own unique way. Goodbye for now.